Heists, or to be precise, the Vault of Hereditas, is one of the best easy mid-game moneymaker that you can unlock on your account, because if you are able to complete 5 runs an hour, so you need about 12 minutes per run, this heist is about 48 million GP per hour. And if you are really fast and you get to 6 runs per hour, it can go up to 58 million per hour. And to be fair, when we look at the requirements, so you only need a high agility and high thievening level, which is pretty easy to obtain actually. This is just one of the most insane moneymakers in the game. And when it first came out, I made a guide where I basically showed you guys the core mechanics and how some runs actually work. And today I want to follow up this video with some advanced tips, what I learned in over 190 runs there, to be as fast as possible. Okay, step number 1 and tip number 1 is definitely to have the best setup you can have on your account. And this includes, first of all, the skilling capes. If you are level 99 in thievening, it's okay, but if you are level 99 in agility, it is even better. And when you have the supporter or the max cape, you can actually have more skilling perks, so taking all of them with you is the best. And let's be honest, especially the master cape perk of thievening, that you lose less loot when you get caught, can become really handy in every heist. So if you have it, take it with you. But more importantly than this is, for example, a stethoscope and a lockpick. Preferably if you have unlocked a Master Thief's lockpick and a Master Thief's stethoscope, because you can add them to the tool belt, and the Master Thief's lockpick is even better than the normal one, because these items basically just improve the speed on you cracking safes and unlocking chests. And I'ma be honest, the lockpick is a nice to have thing, but the stethoscope is a real game changer. I mean, just look at the speed difference when I try to crack that safe right here. So I dropped the stethoscope, I don't have any at me now, and you can see that it takes a whole long time just to even get the XP drops, and it is also really long until you get some flashy shit, and when you don't press, you will not make any progress at the save. But as soon as I pick up the stethoscope, you can see that I now suddenly get way faster XP drops, and all that shit happens way faster, and you just crack a save basically instantly. So this is definitely one of the best items you can take with you on a heist. Then we also have some nice to have things like the mobile perk on a weapon or armor piece, or the Shadow Grace artifact unlocked with archaeology, which just reduces the cooldown of search, escape and dive by 50%. I personally never had mobile or Shadow Grace with me, and I never had any problems with not having the cooldowns of search and dive, so I don't think that they are mandatory, but sometimes they are still nice to have. And if you have, for example, a Excalibur laying around with some mobile perks on it, why not just take it with you? Then the old classic, obviously, take some tier 4 luck with you, with a Hazelmere Signet Ring if you have a Luck of the Dwarves, or just the tier 4 relic in archaeology, which is just, yeah, increasing your drop rate of the rares by 1%. I mean, take it or leave it, you know, but I would take it. And the Ring of Werther, which was added to the game with the 120 Thievening update, just improves your success rate at Thievening by 5%, which just increases the speed. And then also useful in the Vault of Hereditas is the Mushroomy Pickpocketing Bag, which will increase your rummaging speed by 5%, so you can loot the Dead Legionary a little bit faster, you know. It is also possible to take the Sticky Finger Relic, for example, with you. That basically does the same, just increases the speed at these corpses in the end. And if you have done the Light Within quest and you have the spells and prayers unlocked, the Crystal Mask and the Light Form can reduce the disturbing of ghosts when you are rummaging those Dead Legionary. I think these are all nice to have things, because sometimes it's annoying when you disturb a ghost, you know, and you have to run away and you lose some time. But if you have a high thievening level, you will not disturb ghosts that much anymore. And for me personally, with the legendary 5-finger discount aura, I basically have no trouble with those corpses anymore, and really almost never disturb the ghosts, so I think it's not that important. But I'm also 120 thievening, so if you are a lower level, it can definitely save some time if you are able to just go to these corpses and basically loot them without being disturbed, you know? And after that, one of the most useful items that you can take with you is a full master's camouflage outfit. And if you haven't unlocked the full master camouflage outfit, just take the best camouflage outfit with you that you have, because even the normal ones will increase your doubling chance of loot by 5% and the master one by 7%, which does not work at safes or chests or anything, but at the dead legionnaires, because they can give you between 10 and 20 loot. And if you are lucky and you get some double loots and stuff, you can get to 500 loot without going into the last room. And this is a insane time save if you are able to pull that off. And for that, you basically just need a high agility level, a high thievening level, and the master camouflage outfit, and then be a little bit lucky and you will succeed, and you will not have to enter the last room, which is just an insane upgrade, you know, in terms of speed. Because by not entering the last room, you will save about 1 or 2 minutes every run, which basically just means that you can, yeah, sharp off some time of these runs, and I mean by far. So taking that with you is definitely worth it. Just take as much of these items with you that you can, and if you are only focusing on a few ones, the best to take with you is a lockpick that is easy to obtain, a stethoscope that is also really easy to obtain, and a master camouflage outfit if you have it unlocked. These 3 unlocks, or these 3 items, will increase your speed for vault runs the most, so take them with you. Okay, so tip number 2 is really simple, and it is skipping the right stuff. Because in the Vault of Hereditas, you can get to a maximum of 500 loot, like in all the heists at the moment. But if we look at what we have in that heist, we got 6 chests, 8 bodies, 8 safes, and 7 shadow chests, which will, with the rare chest at the end, come to a total of 535 loot. And for this one, I'm calculating with only 10 loot per dead legionnaire. So this basically means that even if you are unlucky or you don't have the unlocks and you are just opening all the stuff and don't get caught by ghosts, by the way, you will still get to 535 loot in the end, which means that you can skip some stuff. And what should you skip? I can definitely recommend not to skip any saves, since one save is 30 loot, so you could in the whole heist just skip one save. Also, the shadow chests are really good because they give 15 loot each, which is more than normal chests and dead legionnaires if we calculate with the minimum. So there are only the dead legionnaires and the normal chests left, which means this is basically the stuff you want to skip if you don't have the master camouflage outfit and stuff unlocked. Because if so, the dead legionnaires can be more than 10 loot, can be even more than 15 loot, so you don't want to skip them then. So this basically means that chests are basically the worst thing in the whole heist. And now is the question, which chests should you loot and which should you maybe not loot, and why? And here is my explanation. Okay, at the moment you should see this map right here, where we have the whole Vault of Hereditas heist. And then we can see that we have in the beginning 4 chests basically. So in the first section there are 2 normal chests, in the second there are 2, and in the third section there are also 2 normal chests. And basically what I would recommend to all of you guys is not skipping stuff here or here, because when you are unlucky and you get caught in the last section, for example, and you then have to run all the way back to get your 500 loot full, this is just insanely annoying, you know? So my advice for all of you guys is start skipping stuff when you are in the last section and you can be pretty clear that you don't get caught. Because here we still have 2 chests that you can easily skip and also 1 shadow chest. Then you skip exactly 35 loot, and with that you be as efficient as possible at this point. So for example, what I do when I go into the last section is I look at where the ghost at the moment is. And depending on where the ghost at the moment is, I will skip this chest or not. So let's say you skip this, you then already skip 15 loot, so there is still 20 loot to skip. And what I do now is I go into that room here and basically clear as much things as possible. So first, obviously, the safes and the shadow chest. I always take this one here with me, and then I would look at how many of these pylons that you actually have, because you need 10 of these pylons to activate the path to the last room. And this is really important, because if you don't have 10 with you and you are entering your last room, you will be stuck here. You can't go back, you can't go further, then you will have to end the heist, maybe with less loot, just because you did not have enough pylons. So when I have cracked the safes, the shadow chest, and the dead legionnaire, and I am at 10 pylons, I would basically just leave that room instantly. Because if we are calculating with 10 loot per dead legionnaire, this would mean that we skip now this chest for 15 loot, 10 loot at the dead legionnaire, and 10 loot at the chest right here. So we skipped exactly 35 loot, and all I would have to do now is just complete the run by, cracking the safes and chests in the end. And then I have 500 loot and was as efficient as possible. Sometimes you don't have enough pylons, then you still have the option to, for example, loot that dead legionnaire here, and then maybe skip the chest right here if you have enough pylons. And sometimes you take that shadow chest with you, then you can just skip either this one here or the shadow chest right here to compensate for that. But I cannot say this enough. Chests can also give you pylons, and sometimes they are really important to progress in the heist. And also, don't skip chests in the early sections. And the best thing that you can do in terms of skips is pretty simple. I think I already mentioned it a few times now, but is to skip the last room down here. Because when you have the master camouflage outfit and you have a high thievening and a high agility level, you have the chance to get more than 10 loot by the dead legionnaire. And if we only calculate with 15 loot by the dead legionnaires, you already get to 575 loot, which means that you could skip the whole room down here. Because here we have a chest with 10 loot and we have 2 safes that give you 30 loot each. So in this room there is actually 70 loot that you can claim, and if you are just a little bit lucky, you will get to that 500 loot without clearing that room. Even if you don't get to 500 and you, for example, get to 489 with tier 4 luck active and with the rare chest completed, this is still a 1 in 36.2 chance to get a unique. If we have 500 loot, this is a 1 in 34.9. So you basically lose 1.3 chance to get a unique if you don't have the 500 loot and you have 489, for example. And let me be honest, it is still worth if you do a lot of runs per hour, because with skipping the last room, you basically just skip the best thing you can and you save minutes every run. And it is so much, you know? I've almost done 200 runs on one account now. And by skipping the last room, I only need like 9.5 to 11 minutes per run. And with the last room, I was at like 11 to 12 minutes per run, which is, if you calculate it to 200 runs, just hours saved with that little tiny bit of less chance at the uniques. So definitely skipping the last room is the best you can do. The last tip now is even more simpler than all the tips before, and it is simply to be efficient, because efficiency is basically the key to fast runs. And this means that you learn the patterns of the ghost. And let me tell you, at first it seems a little bit random how they walk, but obviously they have a fixed pattern how they walk every time. And when you get some experience in the vault and you do a lot of runs, you will then get the timings right, you know? You start realizing when is the ghost where is he going next, and depending on that knowledge, you can start making the right decisions by what you should loot to never have those down times. When I do vaults and I see other players, I always see people, for example, in the bushes waiting so the ghost leaves their room. And when you are in a situation like this, oftentimes you just made the wrong decision and therefore are in this space because you did not look up the pattern of the ghost, or you, as I mentioned, just made the wrong decision and you weren't as efficient as possible. For example, in the video you see at the moment in the background, this is one of my faster runs, and what you see right here is, for example, a decision that I made when I came down here. So I started to run and the ghost was just entering that room when I was completing this chest right here. So I started running down, and I also realized that I did not have 12 pylons because I was unlucky and got none out of the chest right here. So I couldn't activate this shadow anchor. So basically what I knew right now is that I have to complete one of those dead legionnaires to get 6 more pylons, to then activate the shadow anchor, to then complete the chest and the 2 shadow chests that are right here. And when I then saw that the ghost just entered this room, I obviously knew that the next thing he will do is he will come out and then run into the north, so into this section right here. So I could now go here and start looting that dead legionnaire, but this would be a total waste of time because I know in a few seconds the ghost will interrupt me here. I obviously then just dived right to the second dead legionnaire and started looting this guy because I knew the ghost will not disturb me here in any way, so I can get to my 12 pylons without being disrupted. Then I went to the second dead legionnaire because I knew that I had not enough time to loot this one here and then loot the 2 chests in the east without the ghost interrupting me here as well. So as you can see, when I then finished the shadow chest right here, the ghost was just going into that room. So I could now easily just walk to the next shadow chest and the safe, completing them without being interrupted by the ghost at any time. And this was just simply because I, at this point, had done over 190 runs in the vault, and I just knew the timings and planned a little bit efficient. Obviously, I am not every time right with my timings, and sometimes you fail a lot at the chest, for example, which is just annoying sometimes. And then you maybe have to wait in a bush. It happens, you know. But if you plan it right, you can almost always be efficient. One little bonus tip that I have for you is that I also like to be a little bit greedy in the vault runs. Because as you can see here, I was in a situation where I knew that I have enough loot, so if I don't get caught, that I could skip the last room, which is still the best time save and stuff. But I also knew that even if I get caught, I can easily get to 500 loot by just entering the last room. So I then oftentimes risk it a little bit and be a little bit greedy, which can also backfire, to be honest. But I still am. I'm a greedy person in games, so yeah. So I just like to greed. And here, for example, it turned out perfectly because as you can see, I was able to just unlock this chest before the ghost reached me and then dive away. And this basically was a insane time save because now I did not only just get this chest done without having to stop and shenanigans, I also was able to have the ghost in the perfect cycle basically, because now I was able to just loot this whole heist run right here and then basically just complete the last chest with the ghost almost reaching me here. So again, I could just save that time because I was greedy at this one chest and stuff. So yeah, being greedy can also be a really handy thing if you want to get really fast times, because this was a 9 minute 36 run with 495 loot, so a really good one. But yeah, still, it can backfire, so it's only a bonus tip. And since I am really unlucky with that heist content, since I am really unlucky with the heist content, and in almost 200 runs on this account, I only got 1 drop, I will bless all of you who watched until this moment with some good luck. And I am sure that you will get your rares in the next few runs. And therefore, thank you very much for watching the whole video. I hope I was able to help you a little bit with these heist runs. If we are lucky and finally complete this one here and get that mask, I think I will then start running a little bit in the second heist, and maybe then I can post a video on what I learned to this as well. And yeah, now I wish you a great day and I see you next time. Bye.